Joe, we're here at this sawmill, and it's called the Joe Diehl sawmill because I bought it from a wonderful, great individual by the name of Joe Diehl, who happens to be your father, I believe. And he was one of the most extraordinary men I've ever met, one of the greatest men I've ever met. And he operated, well, he was a blacksmith and a sawmiller, and any early American frontier farm kind of occupation, he was there and ahead of everybody else from geology. I was wondering, do you remember when he got this, about what year it was and where he got it?
Yes, I was pretty 10 or 11, John, and he acquired this mill from a fellow I thought was Joe Black, and it was set up on Black Ridge off Central Avenue Pike. And Mr. Black had been cutting trees from an underneath power line, or new power lines that was being built in the community. And Dad decided that he wanted to get into the sawmill, to get a sawmill, and finally talked my mother into letting him buy this sawmill. And
he was pretty good about letting him do anything he wanted to do.
Yeah, pretty well. Once he made up his mind, he pretty well carried through it. But I remember he disassembled the sawmill, and it was kind of in pretty poor shape. And he had me drive the power plant, which was a 1932 McCormick Deering W30 tractor. And he followed me in a one-ton Studebaker truck with the carriage and part of pieces. And this old tractor, I guess I was 10 or 11. The steering on it wasn't so good, and it was an old 2-lane gravel road. And as we were going down the road, the tractor would keep wobbling between ditch to ditch. And I'd look back to see if my dad was following me and okay, and I could just tell, you know, he was thinking, boy, there goes my investment. It's going to go off in the ditch. But we got it home, and
he's worried about the sawmill.
But we got it home, and from there on, he set it up and became a sawmiller. Well, I was an off-bearing stacker for my father, and my father ran a one-man sawmill, but occasionally, if he had too much to handle, he would hire some of the older World War II veterans that were still in the community off-bearing stack. But the off-bearing stacker was the hardest job because you were at the end of the carriage, and you had to keep up with the sawmiller, because as the logs were cut, you would have these butt cuts that would come down, be very heavy, and you'd have to pick those up and heave them across the carriage to the stack pile, or carry the pieces out to the stack pile, the slabs and whatever, and you had to pick those up. And then whenever as the boards came off of the end, you had to take the boards and take those to the board stack and stack them and line them up. And you know, I was kind of young and I couldn't keep up with it, so I would just take the boards and pile them up. And the end of the day, then I had to build the stacks and put the strips between them and get them ready for drying out and curing. And it was one of the hardest jobs.
Some of those oak slabs, if they were green, would have weighed, what, up toward 100 pounds?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the cuts would be 50. Dad would cut trees that were 54, 56 inch through the butt, and they'd weigh at least 100 pounds, and I was about 90 pounds soaking wet. Not much, just my dad wasn't much bigger than that either.
Well, the people who were operating the sawmill didn't have a lot of patience to wait on the off bear to get the things out of the way.
No, they didn't. Yeah, my dad didn't cut me much slack either whenever I was off bearing stacking, because those boards would be coming flying off of there, and boy, you had to keep up with them.
I remember Oswald said he made 50 cents a day from daylight till dark, and if he ate the food, if they fed him there, they took 20 cents out of that or something.
Well, I got a little better pay. My dad would pay me the standard rate of an off-bearer stacker at the time, and that was 50 cents an hour. So I would work.
That wasn't bad pay for.
No, I'd get $4. I'd get $4 or $5 a day for a hard day's work. But boy, it was a hard day's work.